management companies. They lead the regional waste management markets, deploying spanning the entire waste management value chain. Now, it's leading the transition to a circular economy by upcycling, recycling, and repurposing end-of-life resources through environmental friendly solutions. And they are on a mission to achieve zero waste to landfill. Uh, Welcome, Prashant sir, and I would request you to kindly introduce yourself. Please share your background and your roots and some interesting facets about your life.
Sure, Neelmat. Thank you, Sandeep sir. Pleasure to be here. And that's what we were discussing earlier. I think this most important thing for today's environment is to get like-minded and passionate people for environment in a room, right? So otherwise, it's more talks than action. And we have been fortunate enough to at least make some tangible progress as Blue Planet. I mean, I myself was, I was born in a small village in near Gorakhpur, almost 5 decades back. Okay, and from there, from a humble background, I did my 12th from Lucknow, from City Montessori CMS. That's what my alma mater from school is. After that, I spent my bachelor's and master's from Indore in Devi Ahilya University. And post that, I went for my MBA in US. I did my MBA from Drexel University in Philadelphia, and spent almost 2 decades in US. Between 2001 and 2018 is where we had different ventures that we started. I worked for different IT companies. Mindtree was my last gig as a professional, and then I was a part of a venture that we formed with in 2009, and we grew that venture to 2,000 plus people company and presence in 8 countries. And we sold it to Hitachi Consulting in 2014. Post that, our another venture, which was into corporate services, we had a very significant growth that we developed that platform for addressing the SME sector in Asia and Southeast Asia, based out of Singapore. And Blue Planet is our third and the latest adventure, which is, I would say, one of the most aspirational goal that we set for ourselves. Okay, and it was not an easy decision for me personally and professionally to get out of my comfort zone, living in California near Lake Tahoe and coming lock, stock, barrel to New Delhi from an AQI of 30 to 600 in a span of just few weeks. But it's been a very enriching journey, I would say. When we started Blue Planet, it came with a purpose. Okay, I think we have done, with God's grace, we have done fairly well for ourselves, for our stakeholders, shareholders, and very contented life professionally. But we wanted to do something more, going above and beyond our professional careers, is where we wanted to make an impact, right? Be it positive impact for our environment, for our societies at large, to tackle a problem which seems really humongous from outside. Okay, so when we were looking at the right venture, we had few of the other initiatives also in mind, but of course this waste management and climate tech really became an outlier as far as impact is concerned. So that drove us to finalize on looking for a solution, which is where the problem is really significant today, where the lack of right solution makes it even more critical for us to address it, and the scalability aspect of that solution would be phenomenal. So those were the 2, 3 reasons why we thought something in this environment and climate tech would may make sense for us. And that's how Blue Planet was born in 2017, 2018 timeframe. In the last, and what we have done is we have built one of the fastest growing integrated platform for waste management. And what does that mean is integrated platform is where we focus on getting access to different kinds of waste. Like if you look at the waste, let's take MSW for example, municipal solid waste. So today we are looking at anyone, whenever waste gets generated from your or my household, someone collects it, someone else transports it, someone else takes it to a secondary station, and then someone takes it to the landfill, and then finally it lands up somewhere where no one's owned the solution out there. So that is what we want to disrupt, where the end-to-end solution for a waste management has to be owned by a single person or a organization which will own the solution to the problem, so that we can build a sustainable ecosystem around it. So that was one pillar. The second pillar we focused on is, once you get that ecosystem built up, deploying technologies to make sure that we are able to believe in our dream of zero to landfill. Okay, so whatever waste, the moment you have that tech-driven execution, you become the waste becomes a resource for us, where you will always look for a way or a mechanism. How can you upcycle that waste, right? So we have a different technology for organic waste to biogas. We have technology for landfills, where we reap value from the landfill waste into much better products or solutions. Industrial waste has to be much better utilized to replace virgin material, and so on and so forth. And the third bucket, which is very, very important, is where all these operations have to be ESG mandated. Okay, so we should not be solving one problem and creating three others, either for the environment or for our ecosystem there. So which is, and this is, I'm talking about, let's say 6, 7 years back, when ESG used to be just a 3-letter word. That is where ESG was in our DNA since day one. And that has given us a tremendous amount of discipline, credibility, and respect as far as being looked upon in the industry is concerned. To wrap up with, I mean, so far in the last 6 years, we have done 13 acquisitions to build that capability and capacity. We have 28 entities and companies running operations in 6 different countries. We are number 2 waste management player in Singapore. We collect, transport waste and process waste from more than 40% of Singapore's population. We are building Singapore's first privately owned waste to energy plant for a 10 megawatt. We work very closely with NEA and other government agencies in terms of their future roadmap for circularity and net zero game plan, what they are building on. In Malaysia, we are the pioneers in industrial waste through our facility in Penang, where we process the waste, industrial waste, from nearby town of Penang, which is a manufacturing hub from clients like Samsung, Robert Bosch, and multiple other manufacturing entities there. In India, we are the largest player for landfill mining solutions. Not only in India, actually, now we are the largest in Asia as far as the landfill mining solutions are concerned. We have processed more than 13 million tons of waste over the last 5 years and avoided more than 7 million tons of CO2 emissions going into the environment. And today we have a processing capacity of 25,000 tons of waste a day is what we are processing, where we are avoiding either landfill clearance or fresh waste processing and so on and so forth. And in the next 7 years, our goal is to achieve 40 million tons of CO2 emissions going into the environment, which is almost 4% of Honorable PM Modi's goal of 1 billion tons of CO2 emissions going into the environment. So that is a short and sweet story about Blue Planet, but I would love to keep this. I don't have a PPT, but I have some pictures which I can share a little bit later as far as the impact. So uh, one last point I want to make. So far we have been focusing waste management as the key focus area for us. But over the last year and a half, we have been doing a lot of retrospection, right? I think waste management is the kind of focus we have. We were losing the core purpose of the organization in terms of impact, right? So I'll give some examples here. So we cleared a landfill site in Chennai, in which was the largest landfill mining project in India, where we cleared 1.6 million tons of waste and cleared 96 acres of land from a erstwhile bird sanctuary. So a bird sanctuary got converted into a landfill, and we cleared that landfill back and gave that land back, which they are making it a wetland, which hopefully it will become a bird sanctuary for Perikarnai Lake again. Okay, so I have a couple of maybe a dozen examples like these, which I will maybe share a little bit later. But that's how we are reinventing ourselves to give a new rigor, give a new purpose and life for Blue Planet 2.0. If you would see our logo, we just rebranded ourselves last month, and we have a new kind of vision to make sure that we bring some impact driven rigor for our future generations, for attracting the right talent, for giving purpose to more than almost 2,500 3,000 employees that we have, so that they can feel more connected with the purpose and the impact that they are creating, rather than just making sure that that is something which is not so glamorous, right? I mean, waste management, to be frank, Nilima, you are in the sector, it's not a very glamorous job. So we need to create some glamour here, which will help us attract the right talent to continue to retrain them, and to make sure their excitement and zeal continues to make an impact.
Great, sir. I mean, knowing all these various impact that Blue Planet has been creating is really inspiring, and it's actually amazing, that the potential that an organization can have on the environment as well as on the economy. I mean, it's fantastic to know. And as you said, this unglamorous field of waste management, from among all the choices that you had. I mean, it's a leap of faith definitely for you, and you must have had a lot of apprehensions and challenges when you went to choose this sector itself. So, I mean, kudos and hats off to you for this step. And I'm just inquisitive to know, was the name Blue Planet actually inspired from the David Attenborough series?
Actually, not. So when we were sitting and debating on the name, it was an afterthought that came once we identify when we finalized the name, that David Attenborough's series. It was an afterthought. It was not the motivator for us.
Okay,
Our motivator was more circularity around it. Yes, but yeah, very
great,
very
great.
valid point.
Sandeep sir and I, we've twinned to the occasion of wearing blue and white. So yeah. Okay, I wanted to ask you also, Prashant sir, like, so for the benefit of students, can you briefly share as to how waste management is so important to meet the SDG 2030 targets? I mean, why is waste management so important a sector in combating climate change and also in reaching the SDG goals?
No, no, absolutely. See, I think the magnitude and the focus of this problem was still underserved, I would say, over the last 5-7 years back, right? The focus itself started to come around 2015, 2016 when the SBM 2.0 guidelines came in India. And because the significant growth that we are aspiring or we have achieved over the last decade, and we plan to achieve from, let's say, 2 trillion to 3 trillion to 5 trillion, we are talking about 30 plus trillion going in the next 25 years. That growth will come at the cost of our environment, our neighborhoods, our natural habitat as well. So if we assume that we are, all of us are so living that challenge in day out today, where we are still at 60 million tons of waste getting generated in India, we are looking at making it more than double over the next 7 years itself, right? As our urban population doubles from 400 million to 800 million in the next two decades, a significant portion of that, if we don't solve when the problem is still manageable, it will become exponentially more difficult to solve it when we have a white elephant sitting in our room in the next decade or so. Okay, so we need to, and how we can do that is to focus more on public awareness, which we are a firm believer that people and consumers should participate in whatever shape or form. So the more awareness we create, the more engaged citizens are. They will be asking the right questions. They will be asking and they will be demanding the right solutions from their neighborhoods to come up with. Number one. Number two, we need to focus more on processing and minimize dependence on landfill. Okay, it might be counterproductive where people ask that you guys are the largest player in landfill and you want a lesser landfill to be created. Absolutely, we will promote that, right? Because it is the right thing to do. So we want to do good while doing well, right? To make sure we are not solving creating other problems just to create a sustainable business around it, right? Processing is important, awareness is important, and making sure the government policies that we have been formulated, they get implemented on the ground. Right. So I think that is where we see some gap. I think we have made some good progress there, but we still have a long runway as far as making those policies implemented on the ground, be it EPR policies, be it SBM 2.0 guidelines, standardizing and framework-driven execution. I think those things will surely help us get that tailwind, which will be very, very essential for us to meet the SDG guidelines for 2030.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with the current scenario of population and growing needs. I think the waste management is definitely something that's going to be exponentially rising, and it's the right time to catch hold of the situation and maybe work on it. I've always told people that, maybe as an organization, I would like to shut shop in the next 20 years because I don't want to see any kind of waste. And people say that's being too. That's being too optimistic.
Utopian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read on your website, that Blue Planet has developed India's truly integrated decentralized waste management plant in Greater Noida. And if you could talk a bit more about this and what are the technologies that you have adopted, it'll really be helpful. And for maybe our alum who are based in Greater Noida, have they seen this plant also as well? It's there it's the only one of its kind in India. So I think it's a great thing if you could talk about it also.
Sure. So maybe what I will try to do is maybe show some pictures also, if I can.
I'll make you I'll have to give you access.
Yeah. So while you do that, so that is correct. So I think as I was mentioning earlier, we need to ensure that we are we are in a position where we can
think this platform is
Amrita,
new for me. Yeah.
देखो
Amrita, can you make Sir the host also as well, or the co-host?
yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
Prashant, you can maybe move the slide or something.
Yeah, can you guys see the slide?
हाँ बट कुछ नहीं है, आसमान का फोटो है.
Correct.
Oh, is it? Okay, let me. Can you see it now?
No.
Please stop and reshare.
Yeah, you've stopped sharing content now.
Okay, 1 second. Can you see it now?
लोड हो रहा है.
No, I can't see anything on your screen actually.
No, but it says loading or something.
Yeah. Okay,
Oops.
Blue Planet again stop sharing content.
Let me try one more time, otherwise we'll just go with the audio part. That's okay. Resume. Still can't see it?
कुछ तो भी आ रहा है बट कुछ दिख नहीं रहा. There's just blank screen or something.
Oh man.
Amrita, can you help?
Okay,
Are you
I
there?
think there's some technical glitch here. But that's fine. So I think let's continue. I'll
Okay.
continue to. Yeah,
हाँ
I
आप
can
फोटो भेज
share
देना,
the.
we'll circulate it.
I'll send the PPT separately. That's fine. So yeah, that is correct. So this is something which we experimented around 2.5 years back, where this is the first of its kind in India, where we have put a decentralized integrated solution for 11,000 households in Greater Noida. Okay, where we go and collect waste using 11 CNG vehicles are used for door-to-door collection from those 11,000 households. They do sort segregation to some extent. All the vehicles they get segregated between have compartments for dry and wet waste, e-waste, and so on and so forth. They bring the waste to a centralized waste park in Greater Noida, where we have deployed our own technologies, okay, to process, and our goal is to process 80 to 90% of the waste that we collect. Okay, so how we build a true circular economy ecosystem is we clear the landfills in the best case scenario. We clear the landfills on a zero residue model, and we give that land back for a better use. And when we put that technologies where we commit 80 to 90% of fresh waste getting processed and upcycled. So organic waste we use to generate biogas, which are being fed into the same vehicles we go to collect the waste next day. Right, so that is a true circular economy ecosystem that we have built, where we will avoid more than 100,000 tons of waste going to the landfill over the next 7 to 10 years, which might be located 30, 40, 50 kilometers away. and you avoid GHG emissions. You do a much better sustainable ecosystem, more engaged community, and you reap the right resource value from the waste, which otherwise would be emitting methane for the next years to come.
That's wonderful to know. I mean, a complete circular system, especially in the waste management sector, is. I mean, I haven't actually heard it, and this like actually completes the entire loop, wherein the vehicles are also getting the same CNG gas from the organic waste that is generated. I mean, one concern that I had was about waste to energy technologies. So,
Yeah.
Delhi especially has not been doing great in the waste to energy plants. You know, there are around, I think, 13 to 15 of such waste to energy plants. What is your take on it? I mean, do you believe in this technology, and is there a do you think it can work in a country like India, which generates 60 to 80% of organic waste? What's your take on it?
No, no, very interesting point, and I think that is the reason why we have been very, very vocal. For us, those are not waste to energy plants, but those are energy to waste plants. Okay, and
Okay.
I'll tell you the reason why. Because during the waste processing, I think all these 10, 11, 12, 13 plants, whatever number you say, uh, they treat the waste as it is in India, where they have been designed a particular manner, where they can only take the moisture content at a particular level. Right?
Yeah.
In India, you are technically putting more energy to burn or make that waste dry. Then you can reap the energy from it in terms of making it sustainable for the longer term, right? And that has been the biggest driver. I mean, trust me, I have. There is not even a single plant among those waste to energy plants that I would not have seen personally. And I have personally engaged, evaluated 55 different companies in terms of some kind of partnerships, M&A, or outright sale or whatever. But the challenge out there is the same. They don't focus on the waste characterization first. They put the waste to energy plants, assuming from a lift and shift model from developed country, and assume it will work in India. Unfortunately, that is not the case, right? I'll give you an example, live example. I don't want to name companies here, but there is a plant in Maharashtra where the promoters himself, they invested more than 100 crores of their own money for a 250 crore plant, where for the same waste to energy plants, it was highly celebrated and stuff, but a small glitch that the plant cannot operate beyond a moisture content of 35%. And in India and in Maharashtra, 8 months out of 12, you will have a significant major due to rainy season, due to winter season, due to fog, mist, and stuff. Moisture content will vary between 30 to 80% throughout the year, right? So it's a
Yeah.
live example of operation successful, patient dead, right? So we have waste to energy plants. They are installed, but unless and until they are financially and operationally self-sufficient, they will not solve the problem. And that is what the biggest problem for our ecosystem is.
I mean, uh, I'm really great. Actually, you think in the same lines that plants need to be viable, and any technology needs to be put forth in any kind of situation. Um, Another question that I'm really inquisitive to know about is that Blue Planet has technologies for waste fuel. They polyfuel, which is the alternative to various kind of fuel. My question is, do you think there is still a need for single-use plastic cans, given that these technologies exist?
I'm losing you.
Ah, can you hear me? Hello?
I think it's little wavy.
Uh,
Is
Hello,
it
can
okay?
you hear
Yeah,
me?
can you just try again? Yeah, now it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, okay, great. I just uh, actually I wanted to ask, given the technologies for converting plastic to fuel, do you think there is still a need for single-use plastic bans?
No. See, I think I have a little different opinion there, especially for a developing country like India and other Southeast Asian countries. Uh, the challenge with the developing economies is unless and until we have a sustainable replacement solution for challenges like single-use plastic, it will be very difficult to implement those. Right. So if what government and the policymakers need to, and they are already working on, is one way is to make sure they slowly cut down the single-use plastic while we promote and incentivize the sustainable solutions for single-use replacement of single-use plastics. Both the two have to go in parallel to make the right impact where eventually in the next couple of years we will be able to see some challenge, okay, some solution which can be brought in. Just banning plastic will be very difficult to implement, number one, and also to see how we can make a sustainable solution which can help us solve the problem at the core.
You know that there has to be a mix and batch of both, and on certain products when there are no alternatives ready in the market as of now.
Perfect. Yeah.
Another question that I was inquisitive to know about was, I mean, what do you think about the circular economy system in India? I mean, are there places that we can do better in terms of policies, investments? There has been a lot of focus, Swachh Bharat Mission, Mission Life, and all these various schemes and all. But from my experience, actually, India's waste management system is largely supported by the informal Gadiwala network. Is there any kind of sync that Blue Planet does with this economy also as well, and yeah, and other stuff that you would like to mention?
Yeah. No, see, I think for us, the whole ESG mandated execution that was as a part of our initial pillars for support, we are a firm believer of making sure that we treat these unorganized sector players as a part of the solution, not a competition for us. Right. So wherever possible, be it an e-waste solution, be it for MSW solutions, we want to make sure the whole social inclusivity part of it, financial inclusivity, giving them better tools, better training, better work ethics and stuff. This is something that is we always believe in, and wherever possible, of course, wherever possible, we want to make sure we engage with them in whatever shape or form we can. Okay. Now, as far as policies are concerned, that is where we need to make sure, because there are multiple initiatives getting formulated, implemented at different levels, where people get lost in terms of where and which policy will be relevant to them, how they can bring them under their purview to make sure there is a positive impact on the ground, right? And that gray area is where people get lost. And also because in India, waste is let's say not a problem, but the responsibility of the local municipalities, where the problem owned by the state governments and supported by the central government. Right, so there are 3 or 4 different layers of decision making, and that is where the solution gets lost somewhere, right? And also standardization and baselining also is difficult to achieve, right? All different states that we have and municipalities that we have, they interpret the same ruling or the guidelines and the parameters very differently once you start implementing it on the ground. So that is again a very, very important challenge that we need to solve for.
Great.
Again, yes.
Thank you so much. I also just wanted to understand, how, I mean, since you are present in 15 countries, how do you adapt your waste management solutions to suit different regions and cultures? Because, waste management in developing countries and developed countries work very differently. I mean, especially in the developed countries where people pay to take away their waste. Here in India, people expect that you get paid for your waste to be taken away. So how does it work? How do you adapt? And yeah.
No, that's a very important question, and we firmly believe unless and until a solution or a technology is not self-sustainable financially, it cannot see the light of the day for longer-term solution. Okay, so that is something which is very, very important, and we need to tweak those solutions while we deploy them. Okay, so for developing countries, the economics will be very different than for developed countries and developing economies in Asia Pacific out there. Okay, so we need, once we own, and that is the reason all these technologies that we have deployed in 15 countries, from US to Canada to Europe, Africa, Asia. We have tried to make sure that they are accustomed or acclimatized depending on the need of the hour for the local geographies. Right? Maybe the same technology that we deployed in US, if we deploy it in India, it will not be self-sustainable, right? Because the cost and the compliances will be very, very different. The same way, if we put it in here and if we try to replicate that, but what we are doing now, like I'll give you an example for the landfill mining business, where we have completed 25 projects in India, okay, and 600 acres of land has been given back to municipalities for better usage, right? So that same technology, we are talking to at least half a dozen countries, both developing and developed countries, where we will replicate the same solutions and customize the business model for which will suit the local market and will be financially sustainable, so that they can be scaled to a level where the impact is meaningful. If that commercial model doesn't stack up, we will not be able to make a positive impact consistently, and will not be able to scale it up. So we need to make sure that the right business model gets achieved, so that both as far as the impact is concerned and the financial viability is concerned, both go hand in hand, so that hockey stick growth can be achieved. And that is something which we will achieve with this solution. And 80% of the plant and the process that we will set up in Chennai will be the same one that we will set up in, let's say, in Thailand, in Indonesia, or in Middle East or Europe, where we are talking about, right? So this is maybe the first waste management solution built in India for the global market.
Well,
Great. Wonderful.
Nilima, you have to take questions now. There are lots of
Yeah,
questions in the chat box.
Yeah, Prashant, sir, I was just going through the questions right now itself. So Vanita has asked that how existing workforce in terms of sanitation workers engaged are integrated in this, and what kind of just transition new technology are you bringing in, and the challenges faced?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, I think there is a lot of rigor from our perspective, where we do play important heed to the ESG aspect of it, to make sure that we structure and organize that sector by giving them better tools, better training, better compensation for their efforts that is being included there. But for the aspect of ensuring that they have to work a little bit in the structured manner as well. So we can give them the opportunity. There are some players who will stack up and scale up to the occasion to make sure that they're able to make some tangible contribution. But there are still folks who don't feel that organized way of working as the new way of working, which will make them flourish. So I think there's a mixed bag, but from our side, we always give them an option and try to do the right thing to make sure they get an opportunity to make a difference in their lives.
Great. I think Varsha ma'am has mentioned that I was living in Greater Noida for some time and have seen them in action. This is about the integrated waste management plant. Bigsna has asked that what is the post-processed form of the waste that you treat and what is it used for? You mentioned biogas. Is there a solid slurry byproduct as well, and what is that used for?
Yeah, so this plant that we have is a smaller size plant. It treats 18 to 20 tons per day of the peak capacity there. So there is, yes, you are right. There is a slurry and manure which comes out as a byproduct. Because the scale is smaller, we are partnering with the local farmers and which is being used by their for their agricultural purposes there. We are setting up one of the India's first larger size project in Kerala, which will be 200 tons per day capacity. Okay, and that is where we will partner with the larger organizations at a commercial and pan-India level, where they will take the byproduct on a commercial scale, which will be between 50 to 60 tons a day.
Wonderful. Chandra Kishore has asked is how profitable is your operation? What are the risks that add to your costs? Do you encourage other entrepreneurs to jump into the waste to gold bandwagon?
No, I would not say it's a gold bandwagon. That is, I would say, is a myth. Because, and that myth has been created by the whole misnomer where the waste seems to be a gold mine, right? So it is not a gold mine if you go with the aspect of reaping gold, right? You need to solve the problem and go to the core of solving the problem. And in that journey, if you can make profitable venture out of it, should be the goal that we should be aspiring for, right? If money making is the only objective, I don't think so. This should be, because there are challenges, there are inherent challenges, there are a lot of headwinds that the sector will face over the next 5 to 7 years. We have not even seen the light of the day where everything is stabilized. I mean, there will be some ups and downs. There will be a lot of passion that is required for the sector to make an impact. But I think it is a very, there will be a lot of innovations, a lot of R&D, a lot of newer climate tech. I would say the next decade, apart from AI and ML, climate tech and sustainability will be the areas where the next set of unicorns will emerge. So we need to choose our own battles that we need to fight and win.
Yeah. Prashant, I completely agree. In fact, I think there is a great scope for opportunities, especially in the areas of battery recycling, especially in the areas of solar waste recycling, and textile recycling is another great area which is also coming up. So there are opportunities. I think people just need to explore and maybe find out their passion areas and work towards it. I have another interesting question for you. It says that the problem of waste generation is at odds with the economics of consumerism, to the point is getting exported to third world countries from the global north. How will we ever catch up to that pace? Would be nice to hear your perspective on this.
No. Very, very important point, and that is something where we would have seen a significant constraints getting brought in over the last 5 years, where that whole import-export of waste and dumping, the waste dumping is I would not say stopped fully, but a significant constraint has been implemented here. Now, as far as economics is concerned, of course, the permanent solution, as I started the topic with, the consumers have to be more engaged. We have to be more aware, and we need to make sure that we are asking the right questions, demanding the right solutions from our neighborhoods, from our municipalities, and so on and so forth. Very, very important out there, and playing an active role. I mean, our youths and next generation is very, very passionate about this. Okay, so we need to be very mindful of what kind of future are we giving it to them, what kind of environment will they be breathing in, right? So those are the things that they will be asking, and if we don't do the right thing as adults and elders, I think we will have nothing but to just feel guilt about it, which we should not be.
Thank you so much. Prashant sir, we have a question from Avinash, who is also one of our alumni. And he mentions that he lives in Ranchi, which is one of the tier 2 cities in India. What solutions regarding waste management you see for tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which generate so much of waste and also struggles with insufficient power generation? Are you working in tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India? And if yes, how has been your experience?
No, see, I think tier 2, tier 3 cities definitely we need to look for a solution for tier 2, tier 3 cities, because otherwise our next phase of growth, which will come from those tier 2, tier 3 cities, will become a humongous challenge for us to address in the next decade or two. Okay, and now what kind of solutions will emerge? I think something like a decentralized model that we have in Greater Noida will be a good fit out there. The challenge lies in the level of awareness that can be created. Okay, the level of access to the right capital, not only from the government, but when you go out and raise the right kind of funds to deploy for a sustainable ecosystem, the NBFCs and banks is still sitting on the fence, right? I mean, because the models have not been proven out there. So I think we need to build small success stories within those tier 2, tier 3 cities. But trust me, I mean, eventually those are the markets that will, you yourself will see that a lot of, let's say, talent that is getting attracted, because tier 2, tier 3 cities are getting all the captive centers getting built up from the IT or ITES services, right? Companies coming along and stuff. So the boom will come, and with that boom will come the responsibility of addressing the waste management sustainably as well.
Yeah, I think I can add in that, I mean, being from Bhubaneswar, I mean, and setting up and having a waste management in a tier 2 city also gives a first mover advantage to me, which I think which has not been done apart from the municipalities. There's another important question from the current students who would like to know what kind of skills and skill sets and maybe training or experiences that you believe would be valuable for individuals who look to enter in this field, and are there any website routes where they can apply for vacancies?
No, sure. So I think, see, this sector is still evolving, and because of the huge gap that we foresee as far as the demand-supply gap, which will happen over the next 5 to 7 years, right? Because the aspirational target that India and us as an economy we have put for ourselves for 2030 the amount of jobs and opportunities that will get created will be humongous, right? Now, where those opportunities will lie, of course, technology, wherever R&D and technology will be one aspect for engineers coming along. For IIFM kind of folks who are graduating with the two courses that you mentioned, I think a lot of opportunities can be seen for the local carbon markets which are coming along, right? In terms of consulting, in terms of validation, in terms of decarbonization, right? I think a lot of excitement we are seeing from global companies, because India, whatever we do in India, it comes at a scale, yeah, right? So when it comes at a scale, there's the world that people, I mean, companies like top 100, Fortune 100 companies can go to when they want to make a tangible, move the needle for their positive decarbonization story without India coming into the forum. Okay, so there will be a lot of opportunities. Be patient, be passionate, take your enthusiasm and have patience. It will not be an easy task over the next 5-7 years, but stay focused, be patient, and hard work and committed towards this belief that you have in this whole journey. I think crossing the finish line will be very, very gratifying.
I have two questions which you also
Yeah,
mentioned about. Yeah, so
yeah, Nilima,
Varsha,
I'll maybe after these two, I have a dinner meeting to attend. There is a delegation from Saudi Arabia, so if I can maybe after this, if I can
Yeah,
please
yeah,
take the
yeah.
excuse.
Absolutely,
no problem.
absolutely.
Actually, no problem. I mean, I think we've already engaged on these two questions before. So I think we could just wrap it up. And maybe you could just wrap it up by telling one of your most fond campus memory. I think that will be a great thing for IFMites to know if you have any fond campus memories, and then we can close it.
No, sure, yeah. I think from our MBA program, I think next year, 2000 was my graduation from Indore. Next year is where we are celebrating our silver jubilee somewhere out there. And Indore, what I have seen has transformed over the last 25 years. Okay, when we used to study, I think it was a very different Indore, but I think folks in Bhopal has been a very close place in my heart since beginning. I have one of my very close uncles. He was an IFS officer. He's based there in Bhopal as well. I keep on visiting there, but I think, see, memory-wise, college is the time which those are the memories that you will relish throughout your lives. Okay, and this is something, and I will tell you, the three founders for Blue Planet, all three of us were roommates in college. So we know
Wow.
each
Oh,
other for the last 30 years.
that's
Okay,
nice
so
to know.
it cannot get any better where you work, you basically play hard and work harder to make sure you are able to do and accomplish your business, personal, and passion together, where you can trust people, you can laugh with them, you can cry with them, and still at the end of the day, basically able to make some real meaningful progress for the sector as well. So that is, I think, I would say, very, very enriching journey so far. Very huge responsibility that we have taken, and we have been able to give a direction to a sector which, in a way, was getting directionless, I would say, 6-7 years back. Right, so and we were able to make these bold moves because we were an outsider. Okay, so be bold about the dreams that you have. Believe in those dreams, and success will come to you. It definitely doesn't come easy. You have to make sacrifices. You have to make forge alliances, look for partnerships, and make sure that the commitment is not 100% but 200%.
Thank you so much, Prashant sir. I mean, thank you so much for your time and expertise, and we look forward to seeing continued impact of Blue Planet Environmental Solutions. Your commitment is actually commendable, and I wish all the founders and the co-founders of Blue Planet Environmental Solutions great success in the future. And please do visit IIFM Bhopal the next time you are in Bhopal. I mean, surely visit us. And thank you so much once again.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so
thank
much.
you,
Thanks for
Prashant.
having
Thank
me.
you. No, thank you,
Thank you,
I
sir.
think
Thank you.
he's in a hurry.
Really appreciate it.
We'll let him
Yeah.
go. Thank
I
you. Bye
really
bye.
appreciate it.
Thank you,
Have a
sir.
Thank you,
great
sir.
dinner.
Thank you.
Thank you
Do
so much.
Thank you.
do share the pictures. We will circulate it in our groups.
Yeah. No. I'll send the PPT itself. We have an
Great.
intro PPT, so people
Okay.
anyone. Yeah, no problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the
Bye.
best. Good
Thank you,
night, guys.
Prashant.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nilima. You did a
No
wonderful
problem, sir.
job.
Thank you. Thank you
Uh,
so much, sir. Thank you.
it's
Okay,
quite up
thanks a
your
lot.
street,
Bye
huh?
bye.
Waste management. आपका काम भी है. I saw your website.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, sir.
There may be
I think,
learnings for you from Brew Planet. I think you
yeah,
should go and
definitely.
visit their company. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're doing really great work. I mean, it's such a capital intensive industry though, and they're being new to this sector also. They've been doing wonderful work in it. So yeah, they're an inspiration. I keep following all the
Good.
waste management companies. Great.
Good.
Thank you so much, sir, for
Thank you.
this opportunity, and
Thank you.
we'll keep
Thank
in
you.
touch.
Sure. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Nikhil sir. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in.
Bye bye.
How do I close this session? Okay.